YouTube anymore.
You didn't say hey Dave?
Oh, hey Dave?
Yeah.
Hey Dave.
It was a joke. Never
Hey,
mind.
Dave? Question mark? I'm confused.
Oh, we were supposed to record this. Oops.
Well, can you hit record?
Do you want me to hit record?
Hit record.
See if it shows or not.
All right. I am Tara. This is my...
Hello.
We are from Living on a Dime to Grow Rich.
Yes.
Because
Woo.
living on a dime is not meant to be a time of suffering. It is meant to propel yourself forward so that when you have times like now when half the country is being laid off, you do not have to panic because you have savings to cover your payments for your house.
And if you don't, you need to follow us and listen.
Because we are completely debt-free, and guess what? We are not panicking. We are cool as a cucumber.
Yep.
We are as red as a watermelon. I don't know.
I don't know where that came from, but okay.
All right, today we are talking about cooking substitutions. We're going to give you substitute for eggs in brownie mix, substitute for baking powder in pancakes. We're going to give you substitute for eggs in cake, and substitute for vegetable oil. All those things we are going to talk about in this show today. Our Dining on a Dime cookbook, You Can Eat Better, Spend Less, which is currently in ebook version. All of our ebooks, $29 every single one, like over $200 worth of, what is it, $249 or something?
Yep.
Worth of ebooks for $29. We have never offered this before. 45 ebooks. Ends Thursday. It ends Thursday, and I don't know if we're ever going to do this deal again. I don't know. We are making some changes again because we are living on a dime to grow rich.
Yes.
And
Changes to fix changes.
changes to fix changes. So we've been making lots of changes, and some of the changes that we had didn't work. It's been causing us a huge nightmare in the background here. So anyway, livingonadime.com. Go grab all of our ebooks. It includes our Dining on a Dime ebook with color pictures. Even in the ebook, it's color pictures. So today we are talking about substitutions.
Woo.
Now, this is on page
Oh, we should've-
425 in your Dining on a Dime cookbook if you want to follow along.
You should have got the new photo.
The new
But
photo.
I haven't read it yet.
Yeah.
Oh. Oh, wait.
And we are talking about substitutions. Now, substitute for eggs is one of the big things. And substitute for eggs in brownie mix is a huge thing. Now, here's the thing. If you don't have any brownie mix, this is the moment. Go do our brownie recipe. It is on page, let me see, I forgot to get the recipe. Page brownies, brown, B-R-O-W on page. That's not right, hold on. That's the mix, not just the fudge brownies. Where did they go? Brownies, fudge, there we go, $3.69. And this on our Facebook page, right here. Page 369, fudge brownies right there, my bookmark. Okay, this fudge brownie recipe has been getting tons and tons and tons of comments.
Woo.
At Living on a Dime on Facebook. One of our viewers who is, I believe she said she was 70, said she made this and it's the best fudge brownie she's ever made. She was so excited. She sent a picture, I think that was her, I can't remember.
They are really good.
She just checked in a little bit ago. So.
Oh! So I posted her testimonial with the brownies on our Facebook page on Living on a Dime, and everybody's been going crazy. So we're sharing the recipe here with you. So if you don't have brownie mix, you can make the fudge brownies. Now, what can you use as a substitute for eggs in brownie mix? You can use several different things. You can use a tablespoon of soy flour with a tablespoon of water. You can use a tablespoon...
Sorry, I'm sharing the link to the substitutions page, but it is in the show comments and or not the description and in the show notes.
You can use flax meal, ground flax, seed, flax meal, however you want to call that, with a tablespoon of water. You could use a half a banana. It would taste like chocolate covered bananas, which would be really good. You could add a quarter of a cup of applesauce. All these are substitute for eggs. You could use a quarter cup of yogurt. That works especially well in brownies. You could use a half a cup of buttermilk. That works for cakes. You could use pretty much any pureed fruit. Pureed peaches, pureed pears, all of those you could use for cakes, for substitute for eggs and cakes. You could use a tablespoon of white vinegar and a tablespoon of water plus a teaspoon of baking powder. So what eggs do is eggs help leaven things. So they make it poofier, make it fluffier, helps it rise. That's what the eggs do in these recipes. So that's why all these other things would work. Are you guys going to the park?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay. And you could add, substitute for egg would be a quarter cup of vegetable oil for cookies, or a tablespoon of cornstarch and a tablespoon of water for cookies. All these are in the description below. We have a huge, long post right here. Huge, long post with all the descriptions.
And it's likely we'll
Or
add
with all
more
the-
to it, so I would just
Yeah.
check in every now and then and see.
And as soon as I can figure out how to work it, I'm going to make a printable on this. So if you're watching this in the future, I'll have a printable. Okay, flour. What can you use for flour? For cake flour, you can use 1 cup less 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour, and it works best if you sift it, okay? You don't have to sift it, but it just does a little bit better. You could use, for thickening, if you don't have flour, you can use cornstarch. I have my cornstarch in an old cashew thing here, but because I bought 50 pounds of it for my bath bombs, but cornstarch you could use for thickening instead of flour. Just put a little bit in water, like a quarter cup of water with 1 or 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. Whisk it up, put it in your soups, stews, that kind of thing. For pies, just put 1 or 2 tablespoons of cornstarch in with your filling mix and mix that in. It also works well in place of tapioca for pies. So that is what you can use for flour. Now, what can you use for dairy? For milk? Did you have questions?
Oh, no.
Okay, for milk, you could use dry milk, 1/3 of a cup of dry milk with a cup of water, or a 1/2 cup of evaporated milk plus a 1/2 cup of water. You could use a cup of buttermilk. If it's things like baked things like cakes and pancakes and waffles and brownie, well, brownies don't use milk, but anything that you bake with milk, like coffee cake, you could use buttermilk instead. You could use, for heavy cream or half and half, you could use 7/8 of a cup of whole milk plus 3 tablespoons of butter. Half and half and cream just has more cream, more fat in, so you could just use the whole milk plus the extra butter and you would have a cream substitute. Sour cream, you could use cup for cup, yogurt in place of sour cream, vice versa for most things. Like if you want to make a dip and you don't have sour cream, you could use yogurt. You could use mayonnaise. Any of those would work. Whole milk, if you need whole milk for something, you could use a cup of skim milk plus 2 tablespoons of butter or margarine. That raises the fat so that you have the extra fat. Cream cheese, you could use ricotta cheese instead. So those are dairy substitutions.
Christia asks, can I use the whey off my yogurt? Yes.
Yeah, you can bake with it. It's really good to bake with. Save it and bake with it. Sugar. For granulated sugar, so let's say you don't have any regular sugar, what you could do is, oh wait, I forgot one thing on the milk. You can also use sour milk. Now what I do for milk, which I did a video on this the other day, so you can go back and watch it on YouTube. Well, it's on Facebook too, but when my milk sours, I write sour on the jug, and then I use it for baking, all my baking. Sour milk is not the same as spoiled milk, okay? Sour milk will last about a month or so, after month to 6 weeks. Spoiled milk is when it starts growing mold, okay? That is spoiled. Sour is not the same thing. Use it for baking. I put it in ice cube trays, the regular standard ice cube trays, and that's 2 tablespoons for each little ice cube. So 2 ice cubes would equal a 1/4 cup of milk. So when I need it for baking, I just take however many I need, 8 for a cup of milk, 4 for a 1/2 cup of milk, let it defrost, use it to bake, okay? All right, back to sugar. You could use, for regular granulated sugar, you could use 1 3/4 cup of powdered sugar, or you could use 1 cup of brown sugar, or you could use 3/4 cup of honey. Now, if you use a liquid sweetener like honey, agave, corn syrup would be another good one. You may need to add just a bit more flour. Couple tablespoons to 1/4 cup, probably closer to a couple tablespoons. Altitude affects a little bit of that also. But that would be a great substitute. If you don't have powdered sugar, confectioner's sugar, you can do a 1/2 cup of regular sugar and add a tablespoon of sugar to it. Or, wait a minute, a 1/2 cup of granulated sugar and, oops, wait a minute, I made a mistake. We'll have to go in and fix that. Okay, so a 1/2 cup plus 1 tablespoon of granulated sugar, and then if you want, you can add a tablespoon of cornstarch. Put that in your blender, whiz it for a minute until it becomes powdery, and you've got powdered sugar. Honey, you can use, oops, that's my corn syrup. Honey, you can use granulated sugar with 3/4 cup sugar with a 1/4 cup of water or other liquid. Brown sugar, you can use 1 cup of sugar with 2 tablespoons of molasses or dark corn syrup. Corn syrup, if you need corn syrup for baking, you can do 1 1/4 cups of white sugar with a 1/3 cup of water. Now, corn syrup is also good. Keep maple flavoring on hand, and if you run out of regular syrup, you can use corn syrup, just add a little bit of maple flavoring. You can also make homemade maple syrup, so to speak, with sugar, water, and maple flavoring. That is on page maple flavoring, maple syrup. Oops, wait a minute. Maple syrup, if you need, is in Dining on a Dime on page, well, good grief. Where'd it go? Here it is, 100. Okay, page 100 in Dining on a Dime if you need to know how to make homemade maple syrup. All right, now, fats. Now, here's a big one, guys. Most people, when they're stocking up, they don't really think about stocking up on fats. This is actually a pretty big one that nobody ever does. Now, I would get more shelf-stable fats like shortening, lard. Those will last longer than your liquid fats like olive oil, vegetable oil, avocado oil. They will last a little bit longer than the shortening and the lard. But here's the thing. So on the fats, you can substitute butter. You could use Greek yogurt. You could use regular oil. You could use shortening. You can even use bacon grease. Now, all the oils you can almost use interchangeably. Now, here's the thing. Now that we're having food issues, well, or so people are saying. I don't think we actually are yet, but if we get to the point we have food issues, start saving things now, like your bacon grease. This is my bacon grease that I save.
That looks like a candle.
Well, you can make a candle out of it if you needed to, actually. But I just pour off the grease, strain it, and put it in a mason jar and keep it in the fridge. You could can it if you want to. You could freeze it if you want to. You can do it however you would like, but this is how I store my bacon grease. Your hamburger grease. My assistant Heidi today emailed me and said she made homemade tortillas, which are on page 138 in Dining on a Dime, okay? She made homemade tortillas. She said they were so light and delicious that they just couldn't believe how good that they were. But she saved her hamburger grease and used it. So start saving your hamburger grease and those kinds of things and start using that for some fats. Okay? Now, what can you use for fats for substitute? You can use bacon grease. You can use hamburger grease. You can use avocado oil. You can use just soybean, vegetable, canola type oil. You can use olive oil. Any of those fats, coconut oil, any of those will work for fats in your baking and cooking, okay? All right, next. What are some other just general type substitutions? All right, lemon juice, lemon zest. I buy, and I think this is in our Amazon store because I get it from Amazon. I buy a big container of this dehydrated, crystallized lemon. Then I don't have to worry about my lemon going bad. This will last forever. And so I just keep this powdered, granulated, crystallized lemon, and it works great. I do the same thing with lime. You could use, in place of lemon, you could use vinegar, and vice versa. If you don't have vinegar, you could use lemon. If you need sour milk and you don't have any that's soured, you could add a little bit of lemon or a little bit of vinegar to regular milk, and it will sour, okay? Now, bacon. What could you use? Like if you have green beans, you want bacon flavoring, but you don't have any bacon. You could use some bacon grease in there. By the way, this makes delicious, this is Mom's tip, delicious homemade bread. If you grease your baking pans with bacon grease, you don't taste the bacon, but it makes really delicious homemade breads and rolls. You could use liquid smoke to add for flavoring. All of those would work, okay? Next, what can you use if you run out of breadcrumbs? Okay, so you could use, this is a thing of cereal that we have just a little tiny bit left here. Pretty much nobody's gonna eat it now. And you can see all the crumbles. Can you guys see all the crumbles? So what you can do is smash it up even more. Put all the crumbles in one little bag. Of course, don't get a Ziploc bag or something. Save this bag and just put all your crumbles in there. You can use these for toppings, for casseroles. You can use it in meatloaf. You can use it in meatballs. Anything where you would use breadcrumbs, you could use this crushed cereal instead. You could also add the last little bit of chips, corn chips, potato chips, the cheesy potato chips. Those would all taste really delicious on top of a casserole, so don't throw it away. Also, by the way, save your cereal bags. What I do is I fold them up in half. I don't have any right now, but I fold them up in half, and I just keep a file folder just slid right here, and I just fold them in half and put them in this file folder, okay? Then, when I need to pound chicken or something messy, even marinating, this works great, and you're saving on plastic bags, especially if you get quarantined or something and you can't go to the store. Use these for pounding your chicken breast flatter, for marinating things. Just fold the top down, stick it in a bowl. You can do it like that, okay? That works really, really well. Next, what do you do if they don't have oatmeal? Well, here's a few alternatives, okay? Oh dear. Okay, here's a few alternatives. If you don't have oatmeal, what can you use instead? You could use, for breakfast, cream of wheat, cream of rice. You could use buckwheat. You can use millet. Now, when I first went gluten-free, dairy-free, millet was the first thing that I started eating. And this is really good. Now, I will tell you, my family laughed at me because I was eating bird food.
Yes, I laughed at her for eating bird food.
My mom and my kids and my husband all laughed at me. But let me tell you, this bird food is pretty stinking good.
Who's the man now, dog?
So,
hashtag dad jokes.
You can get foods like this. This is really creamy. Just let it slow cook for 20 or 30 minutes with plenty of water. And I just remembered I need to put that recipe in the gluten-free book. And it makes a really nice, creamy oatmeal substitute. I mean, it's really, really good. And you don't have to be gluten-free, dairy-free to like it. It's really tasty. So those are some substitutes that you can do, guys. If you go to livingonadime.com, we have the link in the description below. On page 425, we have substitutions in Dining on a Dime. Also, here's another tip in Dining on a Dime. I don't know how many people use this, and we don't really talk about it that much, but this is actually a really cool feature of dining. We have right here, see it right there? See it? Oh, I just had a moment.
Okay.
We have right here a leftover index. It is really a great handy tool.
Stinking good.
Stinking good tool. So what does it do? So we have listed by foods. Apple juice, applesauce, bacon, bananas, beef. Who has leftover bacon? But anyway, just in case you happen to. Buttermilk, cheese, anything, ice cream. Who has leftover? Oh, we even put that in there. Who has leftover ice cream? Oh, you silly little dude, you. Mike's
little Easter eggs in the book.
Mike throws things in there. I didn't even know you put that in there. So we have 4 pages of what to do. Leftover rice, turkey, pineapple, all those types of things to help you use up foods. Because right now, guys, you need to have 0 food waste. I mean, really, 0 food waste. So if you make some chocolate chip biscuits like these and the family doesn't love it, turn it into bread pudding. This would make a really good bread pudding recipe. We have it, Dining on a Dime, page, bread pudding, on page, I think it's 129, I think. So we have those things. Now here's the other thing. I know I'm pushing Dining on a Dime, but guys, $29 for all 45 of our ebooks right now is on sale for our Saving of the Green sale. But go check it out. This is a really good deal. This is not going to be this cheap normally. Let me tell you, we're going to keep the same 45 ebooks because we've had tons and tons of requests to sell the ebooks all together as a packet. So we're going to keep them together, but they are not going to be this cheap. I guarantee you, they're not going to be this cheap.
Well,
so go grab them.
I doubt we'll ever do it this cheap.
Yeah, I don't know that we're ever going to, yeah.
But Tara just wanted to try it. I was thinking,
Not going to say never, but...
We've never ever come anywhere close to that.
No. Okay. All right. So what else can you find in Dining on a Dime? Okay. Right here. Let me run through. Oops. Let me run through a few of the.
We do have a lot of people asking about substitutions for baking powder. Did you talk about
Oh,
that?
I forgot the baking powder. Baking powder. Dining on a Dime cookbook. The recipe is in here. It is cream of tartar and baking soda. That's all it is. Super simple. Let me find the exact measurements. I forgot to write that down. Here I said at the beginning of the show, I'm going to tell you baking powder, and I forgot to write it down. It is on page... Baking powder. It is on page. Where did it go? Right here. Nope. $3.95. Dining on a Dime. 2 teaspoons of cream of tartar and 1 teaspoon of baking soda. Okay?
And one thing about that, their cream of tartar would be easier to find right now because a lot of people have no idea what it is. So
Yeah.
it's a lot less likely to go away.
If you're on the website, it's under Baking Cooking Substitutions. If you're on the website, livingonadime.com, if you go there for the list, it's on Baking Substitutions. So that is 2 teaspoons of cream of tartar and 1 teaspoon of baking soda. Yeah, because the other day they were out of baking powder and I told Mike, I said, grab some cream of tartar because I'm in the middle of testing recipes and there's no food in the stores. So when we find stuff, I'm grabbing a few.
We're testing for the Substitutions cookbook. Just kidding, there's no current.
I know. And so, okay, so I want to go through a list here of some of the things that are in Dining on a Dime that you can make at home. And I thought about making a post. Let me do this first and then we'll get questions. Just so you know, I think all of these recipes are on our website. We have a search button on the top right. Just go search for all of these. But I have like 50 here. But I want to tell you all these things that are in there. Dining on a Dime and livingonadime.com, okay? Dining on a Dime cookbook is where it's at, and then livingonadime.com. Tortillas, page 138. Bread, page 106. Muffins, page 87. Dumplings, page 130. Taco seasoning, if you run out of taco seasoning, page 399. Tartar sauce, page 411. Ketchup, if you run out of ketchup, page 402. Popcorn, yes, you can make popcorn on the stove. You don't have to have the microwave. 413.
I like it better.
Tortilla chips, you can. Tortillas were one thing that were left in our store. Page 415. Yogurt, you can make your own homemade yogurt. 389. Gravy, right here. Dressings, like salad dressings. Page 222. Homemade stuffing, 202. Syrup, if you run out of syrup, page 100. Peanut butter, page 422. Spaghetti sauce, 277. Soft butter. Now, this is a great way to stretch your butter. We didn't have any butter. Thankfully, Mike found some the other day when he went out. But we were getting low on butter. I was like, guys, you need to conserve the butter. But a great way to conserve it is to make the soft butter recipe in here. Mix it with some milk and butter and whip it up, and it's just like the country crock, whatever, you know, like Grandma used to have the scoopable butter. So that's a great way to stretch your butter. Self-rising flour, page 396. Shake and bake, homemade shake and bake, page 398. Barbecue sauce, page 402. Sloppy Joe's, manwich, whatever you want to call it, page 163. Homemade salsa, page 458. Pita bread. You didn't know you could make your own homemade pita bread. 128, page 128. Pancakes. You don't have to have pancake mix. It's super simple, guys. Page 78.
It's really simple.
Baking mix, if you want to have baking mix for your pancakes. Page 80. Mustard. Did you know you can make homemade mustard? It's super easy. Page 405. Mayonnaise. Super easy. If you're like me and you love your mayonnaise, if there's one condiment I can't live without, it's mayonnaise. Number 2 on that is mustard. You can make them both. Graham crackers, page 416. All of those, and then of course our fudge brownies, which everybody is going crazy over. Michael put the link in there. But all those things, guys, you can make out of Dining on a Dime. They're all in there. This is why we wrote the book. We have missionaries that go overseas and they take our book with them because they can make these homemade items that they can't normally get like when they're at home. So livingonadime.com. You can go grab it there. Give me the questions. My hunk of burning love you.
Oh, thanks. So hopefully let's ask the question that I think is going to be a tough one. What do you do about all-purpose flour, which is sold out?
Well, okay, so then you're going to have to go to alternatives. You're going to have to be using oat flour, millet flour, those kinds of things. You're not going to be able to make your regular recipes that you always make when you can't find some of this stuff. You're going to have to adapt and overcome. I would not be making things like homemade bread right now. If you don't already know how to make homemade bread, this is not the time to be learning. You don't want to be wasting precious flour on homemade bread that flops because you don't know how to make it. So what would I do instead? I would make biscuits. I would make muffins, coffee cake, simple breads like that. You also don't want to make breads that are too tasty, like our Navajo fry bread, our homemade bread, because you want them to taste good, but you don't want them to be so good like homemade bread. My family will eat an entire loaf just like that. The muffins, they're good, they're really good, but they're not the same thing as the homemade bread, and so they don't eat them quite as fast. So you want foods that your family isn't just going to snarf right away. Flour. You can look for recipes that have oatmeal for oat flour. You can grind up oatmeal in your blender and use oat flour instead. You could use rice flour. You could use millet flour. You could use a lot of things like that. Now, they're not going to be exactly the same, but you will be able to get some tasty meals from those.
Sorry, I get a lot of questions. Okay. Did you mention the Amazon store?
Yes, I did.
I think it was Julie. I just added the Amazon store link that you asked for.
Okay, how do you know if bacon grease goes bad? Nancy wants to know. It will smell rancid. Now, I don't know how to explain what rancid oil smells like.
Nasty. Say nasty.
But when you smell rancid oil, you will know it's bad.
Nasty. Yeah.
It's one of those things where it's hard to explain, but when you smell it, it will be nasty. You will know that it's bad. So it just smells really gross. I mean, I don't know what to say. It just smells gross. So
Christine, I'm not sure when you say is it easy, I'm not sure what it is you're asking about. So if you could clarify. Okay, let's see. Amanda made your Spanish rice last night. So good, so easy to use up some extra rice we made.
Yeah, and rice is another great alternative to bread.
I don't know if Tara mentioned this, but of course we try not to waste food around here anyway.
Yeah.
But we're being extra particular about making sure that nothing is wasted. And
yeah.
if you... that's one way that you won't have to get more supplies if you can make the supplies you already have last.
Yeah.
So Cindy says no tortillas in stores around me. We've noticed that there are tortillas in our stores, but people seem to just get an idea to get one thing and then it's totally cleaned out. Yeah. And different stores have different things, so you might check on that because that's one thing we had noticed.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let me go back to the top here. Jennifer, this is awesome. I had some bananas that were turning, so I decided to make bread. No shortening, so I used the substitution section and used applesauce.
Yay!
Yay, Jennifer!
Substitution right there.
Cheryl, hello, made your chicken and barley soup for dinner, substituting leftover pork for the chicken and the true dining on a dime way, and I loved it.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
Yay. Christia, the brownies are amazing. I hope I pronounced your name right. Let's see. Made your chili for the first time. Delicious. It's replacing my longtime recipe. Thanks, Rosa. We already answered about the way off the yogurt.
Why do some recipes use buttermilk? Shelly wants to know. Because the acid in the buttermilk makes them rise and makes them more tender and more fluffy.
And as far as the oatmeal, do you grind it for the flour?
Yeah, you just put it in your blender and just grind it up, and it'll make a flour.
Sylvia, where do I get the brownie recipe? It's in the link below, but you can also go to our website, livingonadime.com, and search fudge brownies. And it's right there.
Judy, have you ever made pine needle tea? You hear it's good for bronchitis. Never tried that, but we have lots of pine trees around here in Colorado, so yeah, that might be worth it.
I would probably Google it and find out what.
Yeah.
Let's see. Your book has helped me immensely learning to cook from what I have. I also was able to do some stocking up on sale before the crazy got started.
You go.
We're in good shape for the next couple weeks.
You know, that's why we're not panicked, because we had a great pantry full of stuff. I actually was letting it go down because we've been looking for a house to move, and I didn't want to move all that. But really, I mean, we've got at least a year's worth of food easily that we could live off of. So
Nicola loves your outfit.
Oh, thank you.
Let's see. Kelly just found out my daughter's allergy sensitive to cow's milk, egg whites, and a laundry list of other things. Substitutions are becoming extra important. We had that same problem with Dave, the son who's usually driving the show when he was a baby. Yeah. He had some things that were life and death significant. Amy, I've been making your homemade tartar sauce the other night. Your shrimp sauce, it has been delicious.
Thank you.
These are all great things for substitutions.
Yep,
I'm kind of liking hearing people say how they're substituting things right now when things are short. I made these fudge brownies from my amazing Dining at a Dime cookbook for my ladies who lunch group. Wow, that's what one of them said. The others just ate the brownies.
They are really good. I honestly don't make them that often because as soon as I make them, the pan is gone. And so we're trying to watch our girlish figures. So.
Oops. I think I just deleted everything. Hold on a second.
Denise, happy birthday!
Wow. Yes, happy birthday. I didn't see you said what birthday it was.
60.
Cecile. Hi, Cecile Trapman from Australia. I'm a huge fan. Just love your attitude. Keep doing it your way. You say you bought the ebooks but never have done ebooks before. If you're having trouble accessing them, you can email us, editor@livingonadime.com, or just go to contact. And we will help you get those ebooks downloaded.
Amy T, olive oil lasts 100 times longer if you keep away from light and heat. Store spare bottles in the dark and don't keep bottle being used near cooking heat or windows. Wow, that's good to know. We go through it fast enough that I do keep mine above where heat, but if I didn't use it that quick, like my extra ones are stored downstairs. So that would be great.
And Michelle says I'm making dinner rolls from Dining on a Dime right now.
Ooh.
Esther just made your white sauce from Living on a Dime for some pasta I had made mac and cheese so yummy and easy.
Yay!
And Cindy thinks we look adorable this evening. Aw, thank you. Because we're matched, right? Oh, Beth wants to know, where do you get the crystallized lemon?
Amazon. We have it in our Amazon link on our Amazon store.
Let me grab that and I'll share that real quick. Should I put crystallized lemon here? A
lot of grocery stores have it too. So.
Okay, I'm just sharing the link for our Amazon store here. And somebody said Amazon. They heard Amazon's not letting you buy things. They are letting you buy things. What they're saying is that they're not letting sellers send kind of what they consider to be non-essentials right now. So like one person that we know works for a dog food company and they had to change the way they sell because Amazon isn't doing that right now. But anything they already have in stock, even if it's not essential, they'll still send it to you. And we've been ordering things as normal on there.
Ooh, Paul says his wife's enjoying our apocalypse. Because we're entertaining. Gets the cereals, breadcrumbs. She's becoming quite the prepper thanks to us.
Yay, thank you,
guys,
Paul.
this is why for the last 3 years we have been doing videos. Mom and I have been saying, you guys have to be prepared. Oh dear.
Oh.
There is absolutely no reason we need to be talking about doing $2 trillion worth of aid in this country. There's no reason. We are a filthy, stinking rich country. The poorest of the poor people in this country are filthy, stinking rich. makes me livid. Absolutely livid that they are even considering talking about this. Because here's the thing. My son works at a cell phone internet company store. Do you know what people are doing? They're hearing about this check for $1,000.
It's not even approved yet.
What is $1,000 a person gonna do? Pretty much nothing. That's one house payment for most people. Big what? But do you know what people are doing? He said they cannot keep big screen TVs in stock
because
they are buying them so fast.
On credit, anticipating the check that hasn't even been approved by Congress yet.
This is the problem with our country. This whole economy collapse thing has absolutely nothing to do with the economy collapsing. It has everything to do with Americans who do have the money. They do have the money, but they're choosing to spend it on cable, $150 a month, on a $1,000 iPhone, on cars with payments they can't afford, houses with payments they can't afford, Starbucks, eating out 4, 5, 6, 7 times a week, even more than that. There are people who will spend $1,000 a month eating out. We get these emails all the time. Absolutely all the time. There's your $1,000 to make your house payment right there. And I'll be perfectly frank, that $1,000 or $2,000 if you're married isn't going to do squat. It's not going to do squat. It'll get you one house payment maybe. But if you're that broke, you need to fix the leak, people. And what is the leak? The leak is the Starbucks. The leak is the booze. How many of you are buying booze all the time? I know people who go out and will spend $10.50 on a beer. It's ridiculous.
That's right. One beer is that expensive.
One beer at a basketball game or whatever. It's crazy. That is where the problem is. And I know you can call me a judgmental twit, whatever you want. I don't care. But that's the truth. And until you realize that you are the problem, none of these small businesses should be needing assistance. Our small business, we deal on a cash basis. We do not put anything on credit.
We always keep some cash on hand to operate in case there's a catastrophe. Everything.
Always.
See, this is one thing a lot of you are familiar with the story that at our absolute worst since we've been married, Tara had it worse before that at certain times. Since we've been married, we had one time where we had absolutely no money, we had no refrigerator, we had virtually no income, and we were still able to pull it off. But what we've learned is what's really helped us to never end up in that place again is over time, little by little, figuring out how to always have a reserve of some sort. And so when there's extra money, we don't say, yay, let's go buy something. It's, do we need to cover anything first? And so like we never go below a certain minimum in our checking account, which is somewhat significant so that if we make a whole lot of mistakes in the checking account, it will never bounce.
And if that happens, then we cut back on everything we can.
Yeah, we've learned with the business, we always keep extra. And the thing is, you may think at this point in your life you can't, and maybe at this point you can't. But even when we were at our absolute poorest, which was where we couldn't afford to have a refrigerator.
We were earning $6 an hour.
We still were able to figure out a way to slowly kind of work our way out of that. And it's like a snowball in the sense that it seems really hard at first, but once you start doing it, you inspire yourself and you figure out all kinds of new ways, and the more you do it, the better it gets. So if you're a person who gets money and says, man, we got a bonus, we got our tax return check, that's the wrong attitude. And you can have that attitude, but then when there's a problem, you have a lot of fear for not having been prepared.
Well, and here's the thing. Even though we're making a good amount of money now, we just bought a van for $1,500. We have to put $500 worth of work into it. We're going to have a van for 133,000 miles for $2,000. You can do it. All of our cars, most of our cars, we have never paid more than $3,500 for. We did get 2 vans. One was 5,000 and one was 6,000, I think. But all of our other cars have been $3,500 or less. A lot of our cars have been like $1,800, $1,500, $2,000. It is possible, guys. Someone just now on here said that they just got a car for $4,000. It's going to be some work.
Karen just bought a car new to me, 10 years old, garage kept, 33,400 miles for $4,000 cash. Yay me. Brilliant, Karen.
My daughter just did the same thing.
She just did that.
It had 40,000 miles and she paid $4,000 cash for it.
It's a really nice car.
And my daughter has a very nice, healthy savings account so that when she gets ready to move out here in the next couple of months, she's not going to have to worry if she loses her job for a few months because she will have it covered. And she is living at home, but she pays all of her expenses. She pays us rent. She is paying all of her stuff. But she's not going out just throwing money away. And our son, he's living on his own. He has enough money for a down payment on a house because he's not just frittering it away. And he still does a lot of fun things. But guys, I'll tell you, this whole thing has really got me riled up to where I've had to pray to the Lord to help me keep my mouth shut. Because I just want to say, I told you so.
Oh, you don't have trouble with that, dear. Beth, yay, Ellie, great job on buying the car. Yay. So let's see. There were some other things up here that I wanted to respond to. Oh, where did they go? And we got that. What do you use when filtering the baking grease?
I just use just a fine, not a fine, but I just use a little where is it? Oh. I just use a little strainer.
So Christina's asking, can I mix gluten-free flour that was given to me with regular flour to stretch it out? I can't find flour.
Yeah, you can.
The other thing is, some people may not want to do this, but like with us, we would probably share and trade with our neighbors that we're somewhat close to.
But here's the thing, guys. Like Joseph in the Bible, if you guys know your Bible stories, Joseph was warned by God that they were going to have famine. So he spent, was it 3 years? Or I can't remember my dates. How many years did Joseph have to save up? Do you remember? 7 years?
7.
Was it total 7 or was it 3 years each?
I think it was 7 good years and 7 famine years.
That's what I thought. Okay, that's what I had in my head, but it didn't sound right when I was thinking it to myself. So he was told by God that there was going to be a famine. And God told him, you save up during the 7 years. So that when the famine comes, you will have enough. And he made the stores, the grain bins, whatever you want to call it. We call them grain elevators. I don't remember what they called them in the Bible. But where they stored the grain, he made sure there was 7 years. But here's the thing, guys. When the 7 years of famine came, he did not give away the grain. He made people pay for the grain. Why? Because he knew that when people pay for things, they will take care of it better and use it more wisely than if they are just given it. And so if you have friends and family, if you're a prepper and you have stored up stuff, I'm not saying by any stretch of the imagination that you need to price gouge them at all. But there's no reason why they can't pay you for your supplies that you have. Now, if you're helping out your mom or your kids or something like that, that's fine, whatever. But I'll be honest, if your kids are irresponsible with their money, I would make them pay you for it. Because, I mean, our kids are responsible with their money. So we know that if they had a true emergency and they could not pay us or reimburse us for it, then we would be like, that's fine. My mom lives on $700 a month Social Security. Well, now it's a little bit higher since my dad died, but she lives on Social Security. I would just give her the supplies because I know that she, even on $700 a month Social Security, has a stockpile of food. Everybody says, oh, I'm on a fixed income. There's no way I can do that. Yes, you can. My mom, who lives on $700 a month income, she has a stockpile of food because she knows that you need to be prepared when these catastrophes happen.
Yep. Paul says, thanks, Tara. Struggling a bit with this. We've been asked a lot to share. Yeah, I
wouldn't.
The one thing is, what I was kind of talking about is we're very cooperative with our neighbors. Like, we all kind of help each other.
Yeah.
That's different than some people saying, hey, can you give me your stuff?
Yeah.
And thanks, and I'm not
so like with us,
life.
Our one neighbor has tools that we don't have. So he lets us borrow the tools, and I take them treats and dinners and things like that. So that's where you would exchange things. Our other neighbor has a ladder that we borrow frequently. So if they need eggs or they need flour or something, I more than happily give it to them. But if it's somebody that's just mooching off of you and they're not willing to take responsibility for their own things, guys, I wouldn't be just giving it away. That is not biblical by any means. Go read the story of Joseph in the Bible and search it up real quick. Somebody's going to want to know where it is. It's in Genesis, but I can't remember where it is exactly. Genesis 47, 13 through 27. Genesis 47, 13 through 27. Okay? All right.
There was something I was going to say about all that. Well, one thing about the thing on the responsibility, unfortunately, all of us are going to probably do without something. And it's good if you find yourself struggling a little bit to think in the future, how could I prevent this if it happened again? Like, don't go crazy about it, but just think in a reasonable way, how can I prepare? Because in our lives, a lot of people will go to mom and dad and ask them for money and ask them for things. And we really never had that ability. Like, Tara's mom couldn't afford it, and there was nobody else in the family that we would ask.
Yeah.
And so we had to learn when we were up against the wall, there was no backstop at all. And we had to figure it out. And that made us really strong in improvising and in financial things and all sorts of stuff. So I would encourage you to think about that, especially if it's your kids or somebody that you know who isn't being very wise with their habits. If you bail them out all the time, they will continue to be irresponsible. But it's a great learning experience to have to suffer a little bit.
Yeah. So. Susan said, I want to make face masks but couldn't find elastics. Tried Amazon. You don't need elastic. In the old days, they used to just use ties. You could use shoestrings. Or, is that what? Shoestring?
I don't know what they used to use.
Well, I mean, what is that thing on your shoe called?
Shoestring. Shoelace.
Shoelace. I was going to say shoestring didn't sound right. Sorry, guys. I'm really sick today, so my brain. Shoelace. You could use a shoelace. You could use any string of any sort, you know, like even dental floss or embroidery thread. You could just make little strings out of fabric, just double up fabric and sew it doubled over, you know, just a piece like that big, double it over and make a string. That's how they used to do it in the old days.
So let's see, got a few other things here.
How many months should you save up? Just start. Everyone wants a certain amount that they should save up. Right now we have 6 months worth of living expenses saved up. But I will tell you, until about 3 or 4 years ago, we did not have that much. We had, at first, $500. That would cover a refrigerator. That would cover a car repair. That would cover a washer, dryer, whatever. Just get started, okay? And then work yourself up to where you get 6 months. But don't let the 6 months bother you. Even if you have a week's worth of living expenses, that's better than nothing. Just get started right away.
Sometimes the big picture scares you away from the immediate step in front of you.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, Courtney says use a hair tie to create the mask. That's a great idea.
Yeah, and Jesse said that too, almost at the same time. Tracy, Tara, I have some open flour in my fridge, but it has an expiration date of April 2019. Do you think it's bad, or how long does it last? If it's in your refrigerator, it's
if it's in the refrigerator, it's probably okay. I would smell it. If it smells really bad, then I probably wouldn't use it. But if it smells just like regular flour, then it's fine.
Lynette says, because of this, instead of 6 months savings, I'm aiming at 1 year.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, and we just tried to figure out, just little by little, we were able to
just kept
stack
adding.
it up.
Yeah, we $50 here, $10 there, and we got our $500. Then we did $200 here, $100 here. We did not take our income tax refunds and go buy a new TV or go on vacation.
Ever did that.
Ever. Our income tax refunds, which we haven't had one for years because now we have to pay taxes because we're self-employed. But beside that, anyway, when we got tax refunds, we would always either put it in savings or use it to fix the car, use it for necessity. Absolutely infuriates me when people take and say, I just can't have $250 to stock up on a month's worth of groceries. And then they go out and buy beer every week or wine every week. And they're sitting there because they have to relax. Well, you would be more relaxed if you would get your finances under order so that you're not stressed out when an emergency happens.
Yes. We got Karen's car. Let's see.
And here's the thing. Here's another thing. Because we had the money, when I saw people were going crazy with toilet papers, we went and bought 2 bidets. We weren't sure we were going to like them or want them, but I got them.
Everyone's loving it, except I'm a little afraid to use it.
Mike hasn't used it yet, but the rest of us have used it, and we are finding it very invigorating.
I helped install it. That should be good.
So here's what we decided. You guys need a little laugh. We decided we're going to call it the Invigorator 2000 because you need to chill your buttocks down, people. So we've got the Invigorator 2000s, but here's the thing. I spent 29 bucks on those things. That's going to save on toilet paper the first month alone. Just the first month alone. The cost per wipe on toilet paper has just gone way, way up for us.
Jody, why are there so many homeless people in the U.S. if everyone is rich? I can't speak to everywhere in the country, but I know here in Colorado, 95% of them are not homeless. They've realized it's a really good way to make a lot of money without any work.
Yeah.
In fact, there's some here that just really get in your face and joke about it. There was a guy a few years ago that had I forgot what his saying was. He started out with one saying that was getting him a lot of money.
I just want money for beer. And then there was another one. I just want money for the ladies. And then there was another one. I just want money.
One was
crackers and something.
Give this broke cracker, I forgot. Butter this broke cracker or something like that.
Yeah.
But they're not really homeless. And we found there are not very many of the people there are a lot of people standing on corners here all over the place. And if you watch them, well, first of all, they'll have like all different colors of hair, lots of tattoos and piercings. I'm not saying everyone has tattoos and piercings, but this is a typical person here. And then the cars will go from the stoplight where they're standing, and then they'll pull out their phone and start playing on the phone. So I'm thinking, okay, so you can afford the phone.
And they'll have really nice shoes.
You can afford somebody. And I know you might say tattoos could be like 20 years ago, and that's true. But if your hair is pink, you didn't get that done more than 30 or 60 days ago, probably. And so if you can afford that, why should I give you money because you can't afford to feed yourself? And that's almost everyone that we have here is like that.
Yeah.
There are a few that we could really tell they're homeless.
Yeah.
But let's see. So Cindy, I wanted to comment on Cindy's. Kind of was talking about the government making people pay interest on checks. But what I was going to say is, this brings to mind a thing for me. There are a lot of companies, like cable companies and things, that are saying, hey, we understand because of COVID-19 and this and that, you're not going to have to pay your bill this month. Be really careful if you're a person that accepts that.
Or your mortgage. Because
a lot of those places we have discovered, they're not actually giving it to you free. they're letting you pay it in the
Delayed.
future.
Yeah.
So what that means is if you wait 3 months to pay it, you're going to have 3 months worth of cable bills to pay all at once. And especially if you're the kind of person that you're just looking to buy the TV with your money that the government gives you for the COVID emergency, you're going to find that at that time it's going to bite you, all those things that weren't really free that sounded free. So watch out for that.
Yeah.
Carolyn, I couldn't find tartar around here anywhere. I thought no one knew about it and what it's good for, but then everything's selling out. Think people need to get over the fear and things won't be as bad. Absolutely. That's the main issue. So for everyone out there, kind of try to keep your head. Like I was thinking at some point more things are going to be coming back into the stores. But at that point, we need to not totally freak out and run in and grab everything because it's basically continuing the same problem. So like for us, we would probably go in when it starts to look like there's a normal amount of stuff. We might go buy our normal amount of stuff and maybe 1 or 2 extra things. But if everyone does that, that would be fine. But if everyone goes in and just says, oh, thank goodness, there's toilet paper back in, I'm going to buy it all, we'll prolong the problem.
Yeah.
So to the degree that you can restrain yourself, I would do that.
And our plan right now is, even though we have a good stock, there are some things that I've let go, like sugar and rice and flour that are heavier, that if we moved, I didn't want to move. Now, every time we go to town, we're stopping by 1 or 2 stores, seeing if they have that. We're getting a couple of extras. We're not buying out the entire store, but I will go get 2 or 3 and start stocking up again. I am stocking up even in the middle of a crisis as we find things. I'm not going crazy buying every single one, but I am still stocking up. And that's, that's what you've got to do. You can do it if you make up your mind to do it. And here's the thing, I'm a soap maker. I have a ton of soap downstairs. My daughter, by the way, if you guys need soap, Goat Milk Gifts, goatmilkgifts.com. Wonderful moisturizing soap Ellie has. Goat milk cream. If your hands are rough and dry and cracked, get her goat milk cream and her goat milk soap. That will help. Can you put a link in there?
Yes.
Goatmilkgifts.com. But here's the thing. I have a personal stash of soap mistakes that if things really hit the fan, I could use soap to trade for things that I need. So if people come to me and they want something, I'm not going to just give it to them just willy-nilly. They're going to have to trade for something. I have laundry soap stocked up from soap mistakes. So all those kinds of things people are going to be able to use to barter.
So Christy's asking for recipe calls for baking powder and I don't have any. Can I use baking soda instead?
Baking soda and cream of tartar works best. 2 teaspoons of cream of tartar and a teaspoon of baking soda. The recipe's in Dining on a Dime cookbook, or go to the link in the description below. It's under the baking substitutions. By the way, guys, our Saving of the Green sale is still on sale until Thursday, $29 for every single one of our ebooks. It includes our Dining on a Dime cookbook, which has over 600 pages. It includes our financial planner. It includes our price book. It includes our daily planner. All of them, guys, all the big things that we have. I'm taking a new course that we started today, and we're going to be changing some things in our business, and I do not know if it's going to be this cheap again. So if you want our ebooks, grab it for $29 because this is the cheapest it has ever been, and it may always be. So you have until Thursday, but go grab it. It's all ebooks, and it comes in your email.
It's funny, a lot of people talking about making their own masks, and Simply Joyful says she's been using ribbon for the masks that she's been making.
That's a great idea. Yeah.
And, oh, actually, as far as the sale, in addition to when Tara was talking about that ebook set, the ebook version of this is in there.
Yeah.
88% off. But if you want the print book version, we do sell those as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they're there. And Jill was reminding people, if you don't get your physical print book within 2 weeks of ordering and you're in the United States, you should contact us because there maybe is a problem.
Yeah.
And
yeah, a lot of times post office will lose it. Since we have our new boxes, the losses have been reduced greatly. with our new boxes. But if you haven't got your book in 2 weeks, contact us because you should have it within 2 weeks.
Rachel, any idea on best kids Bibles? I do not know.
It depends on what kid if it's a boy or a girl, but there are several girl and boy Bibles in Amazon. Jack has an adventure Bible that he loves. He also has a boy's Bible that he loves, and he also has the Action Bible, which isn't a real Bible. It's more of
it's a comic
book Bible.
Comic book interpretation.
Yeah, but it's a really good way for the kids to learn the Bible stories.
And the cool thing on that is it's not a translation, it's not a Bible translation, but it really helps them learn the stories, and kind of I looked through it just to see if it was representing everything right, and it's really a good way to keep them interested.
Amy said that ebook deal is so worth it. I did it a few days ago.
Yay!
Thank you.
And there's so much
for that price. Yeah, guys, there's like 2,000 pages worth of information. That's a really good price. Where did I get the bidet? I ordered them on Amazon before everybody else did. But here's the thing, guys. If they're not coming until May on Amazon, go ahead and get it ordered. Some things, like I ordered extra elderberry because I take elderberry to help keep our immune system up. It was out of stock. I ordered it. It came in 2 weeks earlier than they said. So get your bidets ordered. Get your Invigorator 2000s ordered.
Yes.
I thought that was pretty funny.
Yes.
She's not kidding when she says invigorating.
Dave says she's not kidding when I say it's invigorating. It's an invigorating moment, isn't it,
It is
Dave?
very invigorating.
I was quite woo!
It's almost frightening.
She's been trying to get me to try it
all weekend since he put it in.
Yeah.
How did our house hunting go yesterday? Well, I liked one area really well, and Mike liked another area. If you guys missed on Facebook, I pretty much vlogged our trip. Not the whole thing. We were gone 5 hours yesterday, Mike and I, driving around Colorado. We were looking at a couple of other towns to see if we might like to live there. He liked one town better. I liked another town better. There was actually a place in the middle where we probably could get something, but... yeah. Is the water cold? Yeah. But actually, after the first initial woo, it's not too bad.
Okay.
Karen, have we stopped the podcast? Yes, Karen, we have. The podcasts were a huge bomb for us. So I'm very sorry we have stopped our podcast. We are leaving the ones up there that we have for the moment. So
it's not impossible that we could do them again sometime, but right now we're focusing on the things that everyone seems to really want.
Kasha, your ebook set is what's keeping me busy while I'm home, while the schools are closed. Yes, very good. Yeah, I mean, that's another thing. Jessica, my daughter loves her Precious Moments Bible. Yeah, that's a cute one to do also. Pretty much any Bible for the kids will work as long as it's like an NIV, an NLT, an ESV. Let's see. Yeah, those are the main ones that are easy to read for kids now. So,
Luria, you spread such a good mood. Thank you.
Oh, thanks.
Let's see. Darlene loved watching your drive yesterday.
It was thanks. Yeah, it was neat. We drove around, and I did not realize my Colorado geography was so mistaken that outside of Colorado Springs, when you go east, see up by us, when you go east, it's prairie. But if you just go an hour south of us, if you go east, it goes up in elevation to where you're as high as you are in the mountains. And I did not know that, which would mean for gardening for me, I definitely have to have a greenhouse for sure. But I don't know. That's another thing, guys. Go get some garden seeds right now. I've got my seeds. I was going to talk about that, but we ran out of time. I've got all my garden seeds that I keep in the freezer.
You still have time.
And I'm tomorrow going to, when I take our new van to go get repaired, I am going to stop by and pick up some cups because I had gotten rid of all my garden starting supplies because we thought we might be moving. So
if you're using the bidet, are you using cloth to wipe off the water?
Well, we still have toilet paper, so we're using toilet paper for that. But if we run out of toilet paper, we would just use a cloth and wash them. Yeah.
But what she is finding, again, I haven't really tried it, but what those who have used it have found is that they're using a lot less paper. So the paper that we have should last a lot longer.
Karen said, trade homemade bread for eggs. That's a great idea. Guys, here's the thing. Use your bartering skills. You're going to need to start using your bartering skills. And so I have a friend who has goats. So I would barter something with her to get some milk if we need milk to drink. Or I would pay her for it, but as long as we have the money. So
Wu Jin wants to know, how do you barter? How do I know what the person has?
Well, you just talk to people, you know, and what we do is we're talking to our neighbors, and what I usually do, how I do it is I just say, you know what, I've got a lot of extra flour and I make a really good homemade bread. If you know of anybody who has eggs, I would be happy to exchange homemade bread for eggs with them. Or
I know this great cookbook.
or I know this great cookbook. This is actually really good for us, a bartering tool. So that if people don't know how to cook, I could say, okay, you've got chickens. I'll trade you a book for 10 dozen eggs or whatever. But usually it's just talking and letting people know that you're willing to barter. And just talk in general conversation. You can just say, wow, I cannot believe everything is out of the store. I am so glad I have a whole bunch of eggs. I need to find somebody who can make some bread because I don't know how to make bread very good. And I'm getting tired of eating scrambled eggs all the time. You know, and you can just say that. Ask people to keep their eyes and ears out listening for friends. I guess he's from South Korea. So you may not know our English expressions, I guess. But listen, listen and see if people are talking about things. Like maybe somebody will have firewood that you could exchange for. So that's kind of how we do it.
Jan, do they go on the toilet or are they a separate item to install by plumber? They go on the toilet. The ones that we have go on the toilet, and it's pretty easy to install. You just have to undo the water line to the toilet, and then there's a little T thing that you have to stick on there, and it's pretty quick and easy. I think the main reason why Tara and Jack were trying to do it without me. They're like, no, you do that. But the main reason they had to get me involved is because
wasn't strong enough.
There was a nut that was really tight.
I'll have your muscles, honey.
Oh.
You.
Please make a show on growing green houseplants.
I am actually filming that tomorrow. Tomorrow's video that's coming out is how to clean your stovetop, your glass stovetop. I have that video coming tomorrow. And then Thursday, I am starting my plants, and I'm going to film that.
We did not make any food on the show today, Amanda, although we're going to make stir fry for dinner.
Yes, I'm making stir fry and chicken for dinner.
We were just talking about substitutions because we were at the store over the weekend and realized, wow, everything's just completely wiped out. Yeah. So we thought, oh, people might want to know, because there is food there and you wouldn't starve to death if you had to go there. You just wouldn't be able, you'd have to think of things to make that aren't your usual.
Yeah. And don't forget, guys, Ellie's got soap, goat milk cream in stock. If your hands are getting worn out from washing all the time, yes, I say washing. If your hands are getting really messed up from so much washing, we've got goat milk soap and goat milk cream. Goatmilkgifts.com. She still has some in stock. So go grab that. Cheryl, I sold 17 dozen farm fresh brown eggs Thursday. You go, girl.
Oh, doing enchiladas tonight for my son. Yum.
Oh, yum. We have enchiladas in here.
Oh, Margaret, my neighbor was so sweet. She sent us a note that said, if you need anything, call us.
Aww.
Yes. Oh, and hey, if you have some people around you who are especially older people, might just call them in your neighborhood or whatever and see if they're okay, if they need anything.
Who are the people in your neighborhood?
There are some people that we know, they told us they were okay, but the thing is, if we were going to give them things, we'd probably just leave it for them so that, you know, we're probably not sick. We haven't been really exposed to anyone probably. But nevertheless, we would probably just leave it for them.
Yeah.
Call out to them from across the street.
Yeah. That's funny. Okay, so.
Oh, Denise, I got to go to Denver without leaving my house and save gas. It was kind of fun. The drive around, it was nice because we didn't really go anywhere we were particularly exposed to anyone or exposed ourselves to anyone, but we were out in a beautiful sunny day and got to look at mountains that are different than the ones we normally see.
Destiny, how do you stop borrowing and start saving? Well, you stop spending money you don't have, period. If you need a new car, you do not go out and get a car loan. You buy a car that's $500, $1,000, $2,000. It may be a clunker. Right now we're driving a $500 clunker. It's getting us from A to B. There's several things that need to be fixed on it, but it's still going. So you may need to get yourself a car that's not so expensive. Get a second job to save up the money to get that car if you need to for 3-6 months. You can. There are still places hiring right now, even with all the layoffs. There are places that are hiring. So, yeah.
Well, another thing about that is there are two reasons why people usually spend more than why people have the debt issue. It's either that they get all their money and they go buy all the fun things they want, and then they don't have any money for the bills, and that's just kind of a psychological problem. If that's the situation you find yourself in, you need to get a hold of that first and pay for the things that are the most important first, like in a priority list.
Yep.
But another thing that people do that they end up spending too much money is they let their fear drive them. And because they're afraid, like for instance, if you have a car, you know you're going to need to get a new one pretty soon, but you have to put up with some things you don't really like about it. Some things don't work very well, but it drives. That's okay to keep driving that while you figure out how you're going to get your new car. Some people will just go straight to the car dealership and take out a loan, where they're basically volunteering to pay 20% more than the full price of the car by borrowing it. And in that case, a lot of times what they say is, we've known a lot of people who say things like, I need a safe car, or I have to drive to work. Yeah. You know, for the most part, most cars are roughly about the same amount of safe. Though, I mean, there's a little bit of difference, but not so much that you should just go borrow it and put yourself into basically bondage, slavery, for something that you just can't put up with something bad to get through. Yeah. So
Wanda wants to know, what can you use instead of shortening? You can use bacon grease. You could use hamburger fat for tortillas.
So Jackie's wondering, is that driving trip on YouTube? It was on
that driving trip is on Facebook. We did it yesterday on Facebook.
Paul, are you guys quarantined at home? He says they're quarantined now due to his wife's health.
Yeah. And those, yeah, I mean.
Are you at home or are you at the hospital? That's what I was
We had a lot of people yelling at me because we were out driving around. Guys, we were in our car driving around. We went to Lowe's to use the bathroom. Did not come in we didn't open a door. We didn't have to do anything. They actually had signs saying
stand 6 feet away from everybody else.
We weren't around anybody.
The cool thing there is there aren't even doors on the bathrooms. They're like a walk around, like at the airport. So there was nothing to touch.
Thoroughly washed our hands in the bathroom,
which was great.
Took a little extra TP with me in case I had to stop on the side of the road because I wasn't sure what was going to be open and what wasn't.
Well, and it's kind of interesting. We're really, really enjoying the fact that it's super, super quiet in our neighborhood. Yeah. But I was slightly alarmed at how strange it was to be going to just drive down the street and it's like the Twilight Zone. Yeah. Because nobody's anywhere, and psychologically that was a little weird. But we like the quiet for sure.
Jesse wants to know what to use crystallized lemon for. You just use it in place of lemon. You just add water and you just use it like you do lemon juice for whatever you need lemon juice for.
Jeanette says, my dog is getting a lot of walks. Yeah. Actually, Dave and I were thinking about going hiking in the national park. And that's another thing. We can go hiking and there's nobody else for us to be around.
Yeah.
Because everyone's afraid.
Well, here's the thing.
And a lot of times they'll close. I bet you they closed. Within national parks, when they close, a lot of times at our national park, they just open the gates and everybody that works there goes home. So we have a pass, but if you didn't have a pass, there's a decent chance you might be able to just go in.
Yeah. Somebody said that they live in an apartment, so they didn't know if they would be able to install a bidet. Just get a squirt bottle and squirt your buns off when you're done. I did a whole video prepping for pooping.
One thing about something like the squirt bottle or the bidet or whatever, if you're concerned that your paper supply isn't going to last because you've been seeing everything that's been going on there, it would be a good way to absolutely extend it as long as you can.
Yeah. And we go through a lot of toilet paper because we have a lot of people, but that I think is going to cut down a lot. So, all right, guys, please check out our Saving of the Green sale on sale till Thursday. The cheapest you will ever get our entire ebook package. I don't think we're going to have it this low ever again. 45 ebooks.
I'm kind of shocked that we did it this time.
He wasn't going to do it, and I said, no, let's try it and see if we can do something with it. We have. You guys are loving it. But 45 ebooks, including all of our big books. Dining at a Dime, over 600 pages. Our daily planner, which retails for the print version $49. Our price book, our financial planner, our Dig Out of Debt, Penny Pinching Mama, all of our smaller ebooks like How to Save on Valentine's Day, How to Save on Christmas. Every single ebook, just $29 at livingonadime.com, only until Thursday. Only until Thursday. Don't forget, Ellie has goatmilkgifts.com to get your goat milk soap and your goat milk cream to help your hands not get all horribly dried out from all the hand washing you should be doing. Use your brains, people. And if you're sick, stay home. Wash your hands, but use your brains. You don't need to be afraid.
And if you're staying home, don't watch the news all day long.
Please.
You should severely limit your consumption of the media right now because for the most part it's designed to scare you. And I realize to some degree it's good to know, oh, is this going to happen or is that going to happen? But I would say maybe once every day or every other day, spend 30 seconds just glancing quick at headlines somewhere and then get away from it.
Yeah.
So.
Plan with Jen loves Ellie's goat milk cream. It's amazing. She got the blackberry vanilla and she loved it. Thank you.
Yay.
All right, guys, have a great night. Visit us at livingonadime.com. We will be back on Wednesday. I don't know what I'm doing. Who knows what crisis will happen between now and Wednesday. So we'll just figure it out.
But we're going to be your source for good attitudes. Oh, happy days. All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks.